Hi, I'm Darren Walker. Tonight on Inside Louisiana Athletics, head volleyball coach Heather Mercedes-Fontenot is here to speak on all things volleyball over the weekend. And get to know defensive specialist Mulaney Dana. Lance Key is here to talk about a new winning streak in women's soccer. And later, head coach Billy Napier is here to give us some last-minute insight to the Cajuns' huge game tonight against the defending Sun Belt champions, App State. As always, brought to you by Sonic. But first, Dan McDonald and Yvette Girard recap the Ragin Cajuns volleyball hosting the Mountaineers Friday night. You're watching Inside Louisiana Athletics.
A long night in more ways than one for Louisiana's Ragin Cajun volleyball team here at Earl K. Long Gym as the Cajuns fall in their Sun Belt Conference home opener to Appalachian State by a 3-2 margin. I'm Dan McDonald along with Yvette Girard. And Yvette, this was a match that Louisiana had under full control in the first two sets. Ran away with those. Appalachian State fights back. They win the third set, and then it was just back and forth the rest of the way.
They were playing beautiful volleyball for those first two sets. The Cajuns were in complete control. Looked like they were going to run away with it in the third, but here came the Mountaineers, and they just never let up. Excruciating loss for the Cajuns, exhilarating win for the Mountaineers.
Louisiana won 25-17, 25-13 in the first two sets. Looked like they had things under full control, and even in set number 3, they led that set by a 17-9 margin, and then later on had a couple of match points in that third set, but Appalachian State able to hold on, and they took the third set 30-28, and that was kind of a harbinger of what was to come.
You're right, and there's some great volleyball played here tonight. Their bodies flying everywhere. Total team effort on both sides. It's a shame somebody had to lose. The Cajuns will kick themselves for letting this one get away, but a great win for the Mountaineers on the road.
Emma Longley with 24 kills for Appalachian State. You saw Kara Spicer there with the serve. She comes up with 12 kills for Louisiana. Celeste Darling, who was in control of the match the first two sets, she ends up with 20 kills. That's a season high. Kelsey Bennett with 18, Drianna Abram with 14. Cajuns, we thought that it was going to be a defense against offense match, but it was the Cajun offense that really showed itself the first two sets, not so much the last three.
Yeah, we billed it as something totally different, and the Cajuns came out firing offensively, but then it just kind of went away, and that was the tale of the tape.
Cajuns hit 235 compared to 180 for Appalachian State. They also had more digs. In fact, they had more in just about every statistical compartment except the final score as Appalachian State wins it 16-14 in the third set. Cajuns fall to 5-11 on the year and 1-2 in Sun Belt Conference play.
Next on Inside Louisiana Athletics, Heather Mercedes-Fontenot speaks on the weekend that was for Ragin Cajuns volleyball.
If you're happy and you know it's Zydeco. If you're happy and you know it's Zydeco. If you're happy and you know it, then your feet will surely show it. If you're happy and you know it's Zydeco. If you're happy and you know it, mange. If you're happy and you know it, mange. If you're happy and you know it, nothing God will help you show it. If you're happy and you know it, mange.
So this will be a 50-yard attempt. Kick is on its way, and the kick is good! Cajuns win! 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 A 50-yard field goal! Its time expires! Holy cow, can you believe it?
We are a young conference, full of energy, passion, and pride. and we won't rest until we've made our mark. Our accomplishments have earned us a place among the top of the college football world. But we're just getting started. We've still got a lot of growing to do, and the future is for the young. Sunbelt is proud to be a part of 150 years of college football.
This junior garlic butter burger is so juicy. The butter really brings out the flavor.
Well said, Peter.
You're kind of buttering me up. What did you do?
You're just a really good friend.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Grab a $2.99 junior garlic butter bacon burger with tots while they last.
Welcome back to Inside Louisiana Athletics. Time now to talk all things volleyball with the head coach of the volleyball team, Heather Mercedes-Fontenot. Coach Dan and Coach Gerard just recapped the Friday night game against App State. Let's take it piece by piece, I guess. Really came out on fire in the first two sets, 16 kills in each set, and you take a 2-0 lead.
We did. It was the most clean we've played for the longest period of time all season. And it was really fun volleyball to watch because it almost looked like we could do no wrong, but our offense was clicking, our defense was clicking, and it didn't feel like we were just hanging on. It was like, oh, okay, this is, we had seen glimpses of this before, maybe for a set or maybe for half a set, but to see it for 2 full sets, I was like, yeah. And then another half a set in the third set. And then after that, it didn't go so well.
Yeah, you really had them on the ropes in the third set, but the self-inflicted wounds started to pop up, and so they take set number 3. And set number 4 is kind of a back and forth affair. They win that one, and then you go to the tiebreaker, the game take all, and they win that one as well.
Yeah, and all 3 sets were decided either in extra points or just by 2. So third set was 30-28. I think the fourth set was 25-23 or 26-24, and then the fifth set was 16-14. But we really, that match turned in the third set. We were up 17-9 at one point. We were up 19-12 at one point, and just couldn't close it out. And kudos to App State for not giving up, but also for to us, our focus just went completely away. And I was saying earlier in the season, there's winners and learners, and man, are we learning? Goodness gracious, are we learning?
Talk about the team mentally when things just start to go wrong in that third set, and then it carries over to the fourth. I mean, just trying to, I guess, dig yourself out of the bad play.
Well, and I think too, one of our strongest things this year is our defense, and so our defense was saving us here and there, but our offense just couldn't find their rhythm again like they were in the first 2 sets. And again, App State changed a few things that they were doing, but still we were in it, and it just, we couldn't get past that hump. And I think that when you don't win like that set 3, I think something happens. There's a shift that happens. And volleyball is all about momentum, and they had the momentum at that point, and we were just trying to save ourselves at that point too.
Yeah. Heartbreaking loss, to say the least. And then less than 24 hours, you're hosting Coastal Carolina, a very good team.
Yes.
You battled, but they wound up getting the sweep. And so the obvious question is, how much of Friday night kind of lingered into Saturday, do you think?
I don't know. We've been, because again, just last weekend we lost to Texas State and then we beat UT Arlington. So I don't know. I know that we were tired mentally and physically. It's been the season is kind of hitting us pretty hard right now. To play the 2 tournaments that we played, OU and Florida, and then come straight into 4 really tough conference matches. It's like mentally you're just so keyed up, and then there's no time to kind of decompress yet. Coastal's a great team. I think that they are definitely picked to win their side, but we did battle to 15-15, 18-18, and then just we started to air ourselves out, which has been again our dilemma the entire season. But I think that Coastal is a good team. I think they're very beatable, and I think too that we are only getting better, because what I saw Friday night was us really getting better. And did we finish it? No, but at no point am I discouraged, because it's actually a very encouraging thing to say, okay, yeah, this is what we happened. What are we learning from it now? And so to now take that into this next piece of conference is really going to be important.
Another milestone for Avery Bro. She eclipsed the 1,000 assist mark over the weekend. But in our next segment, we're going to hear from Mulaney Dana, Dana, excuse me. She had a pretty good night on Friday, 20 digs. Talk about what she brings to your team off the bench.
Well, the thing about Melanie is technically right now she's a starter. You have to start in a certain rotation. So if you're in the top 8 of people going in the match, which she is because she plays the back row for Celeste Darling, technically she's a starter. She was a starter for us all last season. But what she gives us is the opportunity to flip from a 5-1 to a 6-2 immediately. If we need a bigger front line, we'll sub in Darby O'Grady or Kara Barnes for Avery Bro, and then Melanie just steps right in and sets for us. And it was a great thing that we were able to do against UT Arlington. We did it a few times against App State and a few times against Coastal. And she also is a walk-on. And so the minutes that she's giving us and the overall just amazing attitude that she has, she's really a spark plug for our team.
All right, Coach, thanks for the time. Coming up next, as we mentioned, more from defensive specialist Melanie Dana.
Great teachers change lives.
It only takes one.
Thank you, Coach Hill.
Thank you, Mr. Gentry.
Mrs. Hunter, you are the one who taught me perseverance, to always fight the good fight.
Thank you, Miss Ross. You're the one who believed in me.
Thank you, Miss Matthews. You're the one that pushed me to be better.
Dr. Lee Hersey has been a great, wonderful role model, mentor.
Thank you, teachers.
Thank you, teachers. Thank you. This one's for you.
Great teachers change lives.
It only takes one.
It only takes one.
To perform, you need speed, skill, strength. With every muscle, every move, you push your body to reach its full potential. But sometimes you just can't push through the pain. That's when you know it's time to address it. So when injury puts you on the sidelines, trust us to get you back in the game. Lourdes Sports Care, the team behind your team.
Welcome back. Time now to introduce you to defensive specialist Melanie Dana.
Hi, I'm Melanie Dana, and I play for Hi, I'm Melanie Dana, and I play for your Ragin Cajuns. I'm from Slidell, Louisiana, and I had a very unique childhood because I have 2 older sisters, but they didn't live at the house with me because they were grown. So it was like having siblings, but being an only child at the same time. So it was a fun time. I started playing volleyball in the rec leagues, and eventually I went into going play at club, and I've played ever since. I really enjoyed high school because I went to kind of a small Catholic school, but I really enjoyed where I was. I got to play for one of my childhood coaches, and I got to play with a lot of my close friends, which was really fun. And then I got the privilege to be the student body president for my senior class, which was a really fun time to do for senior year. I chose Louisiana Ragin Cajuns because I really enjoyed the area. I'd been coming a lot for volleyball tournaments, so I was kind of adapted to the area without actually knowing where I was for a long time. And I enjoyed the school. I was drawn to it. It was actually the only school that I visited, and I just chose to come here. Playing for Coach Heather is a lot like playing for my other coach throughout my life. She's very intense, but in the best way, to push you to who you want to be and who you need to be. She cares for you on and off the court, which is awesome. Student athletes should join the Ragin Cajuns because the people here are just so special and it'll make a huge impact that's lasting on your heart for an entire lifetime. And you won't find that anywhere else.
Coming up next, Lance Key talks about battling Sunbelt soccer foes, App State and Coastal Carolina.
The Learfield IMG College Directors Cup, the highly recognized mark of distinction in college athletics across all divisions, both men's and women's sports. Follow your favorite team's pursuit for excellence in this prestigious annual award through thedirectorscup.com, USA Today, or L Directors Cup on Twitter. Learfield IMG College Directors Cup, the crowning achievement in college athletics since 1993.
If you're happy and you know it's Zydeco. If you're happy and you know it's Zydeco. If you're happy and you know it, then your feet will surely show it. If you're happy and you know it's Zydeco. If you're happy and you know it, mange. If you're happy and you know it, mange. If you're happy and you know it, loving God will help you show it. If you're happy and you know it, mange.
Welcome back to Inside Louisiana Athletics. Time once again to visit with the head soccer coach, Lance Key. And Coach, pretty exciting weekend for you guys. We'll start with Friday night. You're hosting App State and your sixth double overtime game of the season. Girls are getting a lot of work. But I want to talk about regulation first. It seemed like the first half was kind of quiet, back and forth, but in the second half you really turned up the pressure, but still a scoreless first half.
Yeah, I feel actually on Friday night, our first half, we were really having everything that we wanted in terms of the ball, the possession, the area of the field we were in. We just weren't creating a good enough final ball to give us a good opportunity to score. So the game really went the way that we wanted it to, with the exception maybe of the final 18 yards or so. Second half, I felt like they made some adjustments and they became a little bit more explosive in terms of what they were trying to do. And created some problems for us, which we had to solve, and I think also opened the game up a little bit, and then we saw a little bit more back and forth in the second half. And then again, you go to overtime, you have a chance to end it in overtime, it doesn't work out, but then you get to the second overtime, and as luck or fate would have it, App State is just trying to clear the ball out of the box, and she winds up kicking the ball right into her teammate's face, and then it just rolls into the goal, and you pick up your first win as a conference win as a head coach. Yeah, certainly a break there. One of the things I think that gets lost in that piece of the game is really for 100 minutes prior to that, we did a good job of pressing their back line, getting runs in behind, getting probing service in behind their back line, and forcing their back line to have to turn and run to their own end line. Goalkeeper has to make difficult decisions and difficult reads. And so I think it was the culmination of 100 minutes of having to do that, and just the relentless effort and pressure that our front line was applying throughout the match that led to that opportunity. It was a great ball forward from Una out of midfield, and she just placed it there right along the edge of the 18-yard box where it's that difficult area, and then our pressure, and it was actually Rachel that got a touch on it. The goalkeeper got a save, but she saved off her own player, and then obviously ricocheted into the goal. But had Rachel not been there, had we not had a great service, then those opportunities don't present themselves, and then had we not just continually ran at them and pushed the envelope there, then they're not as uncomfortable as they were. And so ultimately I think it was 100 minutes worth of effort that created that opportunity. Yeah.
Second game of the weekend on Sunday, you're hosting Coastal Carolina. No double overtime in this one, thankfully. But you take an early lead when Gwen Mummert scores a goal 11 minutes in, and then Skylar Sykes adds one 8 minutes later, and you're up 2-0 at the half.
Yeah, it was a really well taken penalty by Gwen, but again, you lose the story of what created that penalty opportunity. Alexis Arnold in her first start this year goes in and pressures the goalkeeper, forces her into a couple of difficult situations and a couple of mistakes, holds the ball, composed in that moment, and then gets taken down, which leads to the penalty. And as I said, Gwen stepped up, and there was no mistake about it. And then the second goal, Kaylee Powell gets forward down the left-hand side and really creates some pressure coming out of the back, drives a great ball across the face of goal, comes off the far post, and Skyla's in a great position to knock it in and puts us in a great situation on the back end of a two-game weekend at home to go into halftime.
And then Una Anastadar gets another goal in the second half to put you up 3-0 in this one, and you go on to win it 3-1.
Yeah, an individual effort from Una off a throw-in. She got turned, created some space and just along the edge of the 18-yard box, and a great left-footed drive to the far corner. Really well taken finish. A little disappointed about the goal that we conceded. A little bit of a dubious situation there, but probably should not have ended up as a goal. But nevertheless, a 3-1 result at home to come off of a 1-0 result on Friday night to get 6 points out of the weekend. At this point, we certainly couldn't be happier, but we know we've got a lot of work ahead of us.
Right, and that work starts this weekend, Texas State and UL Monroe. I guess right now you're just trying to, build and keep the momentum and build off what you did this weekend.
Absolutely, and listen, Texas State came out of last weekend with 6 points as well. They're 1 point back in the conference table. They're at home on a Friday night. It's going to be a tough place to play. It's a very good side. One of the top teams in our league over the last few years, and picked to win it this year. Although the results haven't necessarily come in for them previous to this past weekend, but they're there now, so they're playing with belief as well. It's going to be a great match.
All right, Coach, as always, we appreciate the time. Next on Inside Louisiana Athletics, Billy Napier opens up on preparing for the Ragin Cajuns primetime football fight versus the 2018 Sun Belt champions, brought to you by Sonic.
So this will be a 50-yard attempt. Kick is on its way, and the kick is good! Cajuns win! 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 A 50-yard field goal! And time expires! Holy cow! Can you believe it?
This junior garlic butter burger is so juicy. The butter really brings out the flavor.
Well said, Peter.
You're kind of buttering me up. What did you do?
You're just a really good friend.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Grab a $2.99 Junior Garlic Butter Bacon Burger with tots while they last.
We are allowed to, be our own person, and we can talk to our professors and talk to our teachers. And if we need help at all, there's somebody there. And not even just with your professors, with other student organizations and that kind of stuff. You're in a family, like this is your family, and you feel like that whenever you come here. You don't just get lost in a crowd.
Actually, the student to faculty ratio is only about 22-1. So we know what you want to do with your life. We know what your majors are. We know what your goals and dreams, your career aspirations, the problems that you might have. And so we're able to work one-on-one with you a lot more than you might expect. Once you get here, we put you out into experiences that you will see as parallels in the real world. So if you're taking a political science course on the law, we're going to go and observe the courtroom. If you're taking a nursing class, you're going to go into the hospital. If you take an education class, then you're going to go into a school. We're going to make sure that you know what you're doing before you get to that next step.
One reason I was drawn to the university is the people. They actually care about the university. They feel like it's the best university in the world. So naturally, if the people here feel like that, then you're gonna naturally feel like that once you get here. It's just the energy that they have around here. Everything is about Ragin Cajuns, and it's the best place to be.
Welcome back to Inside Louisiana Athletics. As we wrap up the show, we are now about 35 minutes away from kickoff with App State, and joining us now to talk about tonight's big game is the head coach of the Ragin Cajuns, Billy Napier. Coach, the team has been practicing better as of late, and it's kind of shown on the field on game day. But you've had 11 days to get ready for this one. How has the team looked in practice getting ready for the Mountaineers?
Well, I think we've executed our plan really well. You know, we basically got 2.5 bonus practices on Appalachian State. We gave the players a day off, Friday of fall break, and then came back on Saturday and turned the page and executed our game week. So I like the way that our players have practiced. Certainly you can sense they know it's a big game, but I think we've channeled that the right way and we've prepared the right way.
This is the third meeting in the last calendar year between these two teams. I want to talk about the mental progression of our players. You know, last year in the regular season, we were hanging with them and it was almost like a surprise. And then in the championship game, it's like we belong here. So talk about how they feel about this one.
Well, there's no question that we're very familiar with this team. This is a veteran group that they've got coming back. It'll be very similar. A lot of the matchups are the same players that the players competed against last year. You know, this is a new team. You know, this is a lot of new pieces out there, a lot of players playing in this game for the very first time, especially on our side of the ball. But I've been impressed with the approach. I think our guys have had good focus. Certainly not, you know, it's one thing to be emotional. It's another thing to play with emotion. So we want to channel these things the right way and make sure that it affects the game in a positive way.
So we got two of the better offenses in the country going head-to-head tonight, and normally when you hear that, you think of teams airing it out, but that is not the case here. You got two quality offensive lines, two quality running games. Talk about that a little bit.
Well, I think it's one of the reasons that App State's had tremendous success and stability is they've been able to rush the ball, play quality defense, and stop the run, and certainly we've kind of modeled our program after that same blueprint. So it's going to be strength on strength again. No, not much different than maybe last week against Georgia Southern, just a different style of ball. I will say this, I think App State does a good job of featuring their skill players. They've got a really talented tight end room, really good group of receivers, and the quarterback has been a very effective player so far this year.
Let's talk about the third side of the ball because that doesn't get a lot of talk, to be quite honest. But, you know, the hidden yardage, the special teams, how big of a factor could this be tonight?
Well, it was a big factor in the championship game last year. You know, they had an explosive play. They had a kickoff return down to the 1 yard line. I think it's an area of our team where we're making improvement. It's been a positive for us throughout the year. We have had a few miscues. We need to eliminate those, whether that's muffing a handful of punts or missing some field goals. Those are some of the areas on our team where we've spent the open date working hard on improving.
The game is on ESPN2, meaning it's going to reach millions of homes across the country, and it is the only game on television tonight. So just talk a little bit about showcasing the program, showcasing the university for the country.
Well, I think it's a great opportunity not only for UL and our entire community, but certainly all people that care about the Ragin Cajuns. You know, this is once in a lifetime rare opportunity in that we're playing on national TV, much like playing in the conference championship game last year in front of millions of people. So I know our players are looking forward to it, and we're excited to represent all the people that care about UL and the Ragin Cajuns.
I want to touch quickly on something that you mentioned a little while ago. You were asked earlier in the week about maybe having the team that wants it more being the team that's going to win. And you said it's not necessarily about that. It's really about who's going to go out there and execute.
Yeah, I think it's about preparation. I mean, all the things that we've done, the unseen hours leading up until this point. And then once you get to the game, ultimately the game comes down to fundamentals. It comes down to execution of the plan that you've installed. So we need to channel all these things that we're maybe feeling relative to getting beat by these guys twice last year into things that are going to help us play better. And I think our players have bought into that, and we're excited about the opportunity.
So the time for talk is now over. We're about 30 minutes from kickoff between the Ragin Cajuns and App State. Of course, coming up at 7 o'clock on ESPN2. That'll do it for us on Inside Louisiana Athletics. We'll see you next week.